All right, this is going to be for trading on the 30th. And I don't really leave my lines up too much, but I've already reset my account and all that good stuff. This day was a monster. It was probably a day if you definitely could have made your targets on this day. I think I was multiple times I had already hit my target. When I do this, I'm looking for something like, maybe like two, and I think I had 5 at one time during this day. And then after that, I just started playing around. But I'll go to a small time frame. You can get a rough idea when I left all my lines on. Normally I erase them too. At the end of the day, I'll erase everything. So you can see that's about 7. The session everyone trades, of course, is the New York session. One thing about today, which I couldn't pull up here, but we could see it here, is we had a gap. And so we had a gap from here to here, right? So almost the top of that range. And then, of course, so we have a gap there, and we have a gap down here. So it was kind of interesting if we were trying to figure out what gap is this going to fill. And of course it filled the upward gap. So let's go back. As you can see, it shoots up. Alright, I'll just let you look at some of the different time periods. So if you're a complete maniac and you trade the 1, the 5, the 15, and so on, you're going to have an incredible amount of drawings. But anyway, let's remove it, do what we normally do, have some fun. So first of all, let's go to the morning. And we'll just do it as we do it here. So here is the 9:30, right? And that is kind of our goal line. Let's go to a smaller time frame, just so if you trade the open, I can give you a little bit of tips on trading the open, which is the 9:30, which is going to be right there. So this is kind of where we're going, right? 9:29. Everybody's thinking, well, at least I was thinking long. Now, if you remember my other videos, I say, if you're going to trade the open, you got to be ready for these big whips, right? These moves that just happen incredibly fast, and they cover points. So, if you went long, here, that's what, 13, 28. If you went short, then you'd go the other way to 97. Good God, painful. And then the next bar, you're going down. Then you go down again. All within a matter of minutes. So depending on how you played it, you're here. Next thing you know, you're at 885. So you're eating a tremendous amount of range. But if you look at your levels and you say, well, on a 15, where's my next level down? So it's kind of this bar here, and this is funny. So let's just draw a line there for kicks. So if you're crazy enough to play the open and you played a range of a previous bar down, you might not have been too bad. You would have got triggered and you would have had to have eaten an 85 to 57. Still not pretty, that's a lot of points. But if you played the wick on the next level down, so we go here, there it is the bar, there's the level. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Oh my god, what happens now? Whoops. That's some bullshit. Let's get out of that. I apologize. So now, if we played this level here, right, we get hit. And you're eating just nothing, pocket change. If you get it, it might just be a quick wick and you don't get it. But now, you're riding this bar up, back down, up again, right? Much safer play. You know, whether you get it or not, you would find out in 2 minutes. Trust me, I did. So I think I did play this open. I played it for a long, I got out and I got back in again at the low, and then I wrote it up. I think I had my first, I think I was 9 off of that. And then I was playing ranges, and then before this range here, I was like somewhere around 5, and I just got bored. I think I stacked 6 longs there, then I raced the ball, which is hilarious. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to play the reversal, and there never was a reversal, so. But don't, I mean, obviously if you're trade, you know, this is to help you trade for real. But, so ignore all that. Today was a monster day, an easy day to make money on. Very easy. And let's just get into the day. So if we were doing a previous data analysis, the one thing we knew is we had a gap down and we had a gap up. And we needed to know where it was going to go to fill those gaps. And it basically, when we just go to a daily, not too hot on the daily, it wasn't too far away from that low right here, but it didn't respect it. It was you know, but I mean, if you look at just the basic overall up, down, based, so it'll be interesting to see what I would assume we're going to have a retrace back down again before we continue up, but who knows? Let's go to 4. I mean, you kind of get a base there off some of it. Not too much information on the 4 that's really going to help us out today, with the exception of maybe that top. Because it didn't, that's not a bad range. The split, a lot of times these splits in the days can get a little interesting. Let's go to the day. See if we get any helpful time frames throughout the day. Anything that was respected big time there. I'd probably go to the meat of that. That was tight. You know, I trade the smaller time frames, but you know, a lot of this is hindsight, but we'll break it down into where it becomes super fun as well. Now the 30, I mean, look at those wicks. You can almost see where it had a range just looking at this 30. You know, our base was right around there, almost to there, almost to the split of this, very much right there. So let's draw a line there. Okay, so if we look at the day, especially this line here, we can see how it's constant support, crushes it. Once it breaks back up again though, beautiful longs off this line. It's not till you really get in here that it starts to retrace. And then of course, the last entry here, which is absolutely insane. So this line here, if you're going off the 30, is a hell of a line. If you like to play both directions, your top is kind of there. It's probably a better top. But if you were to short that a bit, I think you get a little better opportunity for touches. If you let's look at smaller time frames, the 15. I really played off that, didn't it? Right there, right at the highs. If you took that long, you were doing amazing. Let's break it into the 5. Alright, so based off of the 5, if you're trading the 5, the one thing you notice is you have your top here, you have a bottom wick here, right? You go up, you continue down, you have a double bottom, go long. Flashes up, you probably get wrecked, goes all the way down here, but off of this base here, if you caught that wick, you had a great trade. You can almost see a baseline forming here at the top of this area. You see that second bar there, how it stopped? You see what I mean? I'll show you. Right? It's kind of in that area in here. Didn't go up. Massive drop down, right? So we have an all new low. That's 945. Wicks up, bases, starts to make an uptrend, right? Goes to the previous level there, goes back down off those wicks, right? So we have long, breaks it, comes to retouch it again, doesn't really break it, just a little bit. So that now becomes support, and here it verifies it. again, support. So there's a couple lines you could play. This line as well is turning out to be a very interesting line of support. So here we have our double bottom, we have a break, but now it's respected, respected, respected. And if you look throughout the day, right in this general area, what is that? That's 80, 85, so 10 points. But then it respects it again. Oh no, comes back again, respects it again. So if you go long off this line, especially the last end of the day trade, oh my god, that's the only trade you needed to make based off of some of the information that you got earlier. So if we look at our day, right, depending on the time frames or the bars you like to trade, you can really see like you have a high and a low, then you have a body and a body, right? I'm going to make that white because that's probably a truer white line. We'll go apply, save, then this line. That line's more of a mid. Whatever, you get the point. So we have this mid area here, right? So we have the kind of breakaway. But if you played within this level and this level, you're killing it. I don't see how you're not making money off that. I mean, it bases here, base, 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 base. And then your other area is a base, 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 right? Bases again, granted it breaks it, and then even bases there. So if you miss this opportunity, you have another opportunity here. And if you got out here, I wouldn't blame you. But remember, we had a gap. And the second it breaks this range in here, right, it's off to the gap. And when it breaks the gap, it does not really, if you look 415, everyone's out of at that time. It never pulls down. So when we hit that morning session tonight, I would be amazed if it didn't, give us a little pullback kiss. Some 38, something in the, 20 to 30 point range. But beautiful area. And that's the 5. We'll break it down to the 1. So we'll use the 1 for analysis for today. So you have this consolidation range. Everyone's waiting for 930. 930, if you don't like to trade the breakout of the New York session because you don't like the wang, you don't like this incredible whippy stuff, right? I don't blame you. I mean, you have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Within 3 minutes, we have a high, right? Then we have a low. And the body of our high is here. So I guess if we want to go straight off the body, let's pretend we didn't have that information, which is almost the top ridge line there. And then you have the wick high, right? So we'll draw both of those. So let's pretend we don't know anything else. So we wait 3 minutes, we've established a bottom, and we've also established kind of like a meaty section. So you have the wick, and then the meat, right? Goes all the way up to here, right? So now we have a high and we have a low at this moment in time. So, based off of this, there's a couple trades you can make. You can wait till it touches this area again to go long. Somewhere in this area, and put your stop loss below. So, as the bars unfold, we shoot here, so we have this big move up, we have the correction, right? Now, honestly, we went to here, so this area in here is kind of where we'd look to go long if it gave us an opportunity. It gives us an opportunity here, right? So, if we're playing, sorry about that, guys. If we're playing, the small game, we can say, if we didn't take the open or anything else, we can say this right here is going to be our long. This area. So let's say we took 88 and we wrote it up to this bar here to 21. Right? So you have 886 to 922, which isn't that bad. 36 points, right? So if you put your stop loss here, maybe 10 points under, 5 points under, I don't know. You need to develop your own style of trading, but you don't want to eat. If you're doing one contract, you can probably have a little more play. If you're doing 3 contracts or 2 contracts, you really want a tighter stop loss. And nothing says you can't get back in, but try to protect your capital. So that's your first successful trade, right? And then we look for a higher high. Did it break a new high? So it went down, broke a new high there, right? And then it gets interesting. Off this bar here, it does not break a new high, right? So we're playing small game here, 1 minute. A lot of people, I trade the 1 minute. I used to trade 2 minute when I traded S&P 500. When I traded NVIDIA, all the other stocks, I really did the 2, so I did a lot of, and I traded the 1 on this, so I do a lot of micro scalping sometimes, which isn't everyone's game, but we'll walk you through it for today because it is kind of neat. So we have this area here, right? And then it pulls back to there, right? So it's almost level on our top here. And then it breaks, goes down, breaks up here. So it's kind of like, gives you a tease, that's a low, right? And if we look at some of our price action, we had spend, sell, buy. So in this area here, that's a safe short, in my opinion. So I would look to short in this zone. And if you did, great. If you didn't, that's fine too. But if I'm playing like a scalp, I play both, every side. So we had downtrend, breakout, down. We almost had a base here, right? So touch. And then we broke the base here. And we go all the way up to this base, the double top, and we just wick it, right? So there's no body that's breaking your double top here, right? So I don't see a solid bar that breaks that. I just see wicks, which kind of tells me we're probably heading down. So now we go all the way down, right? And you wick up here and you shatter this within a minute. So if you got out here, that's not a bad trade. If you held it a little bit longer, who knows? You would have been playing off of a previous bigger time frame, but I wouldn't have blamed you if you got out in this general area. Now here's where it gets interesting. So we hit this line again, and now since we broke through it, we touch it, right? So we're establishing a base. See that base? And we're not breaking the base. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. It's not breaking a lower low. If it touches this line again, or if I'm micro scalping and I start seeing these piano keys, even though it's weak, it holds this baseline. So if you wanted to take a small trade based off of this line, and you were saying, okay, it's not breaking this line, I'm going to put a stop loss, a very small one, here, right? Just a little below those wicks, and you may get eaten, but you're going to go long, right? Every time it touches this bar, like you have a base, go long. Take a long, just wait it out, see what happens. Put your stop loss there. Had you done that, right, we also have a downtrend, and we're building our way to a base. Now, if it doesn't go down again, it's probably going to fill the smile, which would be here or here. So you can see you have a downward move, and then you start to fill this bar, this bar, this bar, and this bar. When I'm looking to fill a smile or a range, I'm looking for the top to the bar down. So that's my out right there. If I'm greedy, I may play this, but let's see what happens. So it hits it, and if you were greedy, very close, kind of wicks it, but successful long. Now as the day unfolds, we have a base here, right? Does it break it? No. Does it break it? Just teases it. But it teases it with a wick, right? So if we have this data here, what's the harm in taking another long? Right? So you take a long again, you put your stop loss there, and you're crushing it. If you get out here, I'm not hating you, but a neat thing to do is sometimes when you're having these bars is, if you're going for a longer run, now I don't mean in scalping form, so let's put this into perspective. So you're 905, right? When I'm looking to do small trades, I'm looking to do 10 point, 20 point trades. That's all I need. Give me 10 to 20. I'll do 3 contracts, bang, bang, bang. Get out of some. The last one you can let ride. If you want to stagger it, you could go 3 with a small stop loss. Maybe get out here on 2, hold 1, and then, so you take profits right on 2. I'm just giving you an example, because you could have a pullback here, right? And then you have 1 contract that's still alive, but then you take your stop loss and you can move it up. And then you can look at your contract, looks like it's going down, you can get out here. But the thought process behind that is what if it based and legged up? Well, then you can just keep moving your stop loss, and then you could ride that 1 entry for maybe 100, maybe more. But once again, we're just looking to take what they give us, whatever they give us. So as the day moves on, we can see we're not really breaking lows, and we have a range of support here. We have a high here that's kind of being respected, right? So it's pulling down. So we have 1, 2, almost a double top. If you took a small short here, played it to a range down, that's not a bad trade. We have our resistance here, but it breaks it. And a lot of times when resistance is broken, sometimes it becomes support, which is what it does here. So if you want to play that almost a double T, take a short scalp there. What is that, 42, 907, not bad. So we could look to short here, and we could look to go long off this bar, get out, reverse it. If you took the long here, right, because here's our next level down, it doesn't break it, you had buy here, touches again. Oh my goodness, that would have been monstrous. So in this area, if you did take that long, I wouldn't be hating you. You could have rode that up to the toppity top, which, what is it, 961. Let's just go with the meat of the trade. Let's just say 909 or 900. Where is that anyway? Oh, it's 904. So realistically, 908 to the top of there, 961, right? My goodness, that broke out. That was a monster. That would have been a monster trade. So now it gets interesting again. So we have this big range up, right? A brand new high, and it wicked down. This is a scary area here because you know there's a gap up here, right? So you might have gotten stopped out and you thought it was going to go up again. But I mean, on a minute bar, it pulls down again, pulls down to our base we had drawn earlier. So either it's going to break up or it's going to collapse. It collapses down to that base. So now we're on a downtrend, right? We don't break this base here. You see what I mean? And we already drew that. So now this becomes resistance. It could break it, but it doesn't. It doesn't fulfill the smile yet. Now it goes down to this area in here, right? And it doesn't break that low, right? So we have a low here. We don't have anything that breaks this low. And as we start to creep up, we have this line here, which is a buy baby buy. So we've been buying off this line here, right? Because we see what I mean? Boom. It's just this is buy town. So now we go ahead. Now we're looking to buy in this range. Plays off that line. If you got out here, I'm not hating that. I think that's a good out, which is our next level, which has been playing in between beautifully. So you would look to get out here. So you have a 945, you know, in this area, say, you know, 910 or 905, however you did it. Let's say you weren't convinced still this area, so we'll just say 908 to 46. You know, it's just one of those. You know, you're still in the 30 point area, and you're just raking in these 30 points, right? So every time you go along, bang, 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 right? You get smoked here, so you probably take a loss on this one, right? Because it breaks your line. So if you looked for a retrace there, there's your loss. Goes all the way down here, hits your line again, wicks, goes down, starts making an upward move. If you went long in this area, that's not bad. If you waited for the retrace, right? This is probably where you should have entered. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I apologize. This area here. Now we have a breakdown, but it doesn't really, you know, here, that's just in 2 minutes, and then we have a stagger up. We go all the way down again, we get a low, low. So it starts to break this range here, starts to pull away. Now if you wanted to take if you're a little scared and you wanted to play where it broke out of this line, you could have played this bar here. I still would have probably played this range down here just because it's, you know, if we look at our day, this area has been such a dominant buy, right? Even here when it broke it, if you caught it off here, which is, I don't know if too many would, but that, you know, this has just been a buy bar. Same with this, has been a buy bar. You know, if you look, it's up, 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 up. Here's where you get wrecked, then, you know, up, down, maybe get wrecked there. Now you're looking to go long again. If you took this trade here and took a long, if you got out here, there's no problem with that. But if you held it, if you held one contract, you did 3, held 1, and then you might have just absolutely crushed it. Now here's the end of the day. By this area, I was so tired of trading. But there was a very slim chance we could have pulled back down. But we didn't. There was a little bit of fuckery in this area. So when you get these areas of fuckery, right, you need to identify where that breakout's happening. Like we thought it might have been there, right? But it wasn't. And then we kind of have a ledge here. We're thinking, well, maybe art breaks it. It's kind of playing off that for a while. So I'm not angry at you until, if you think it's an up move, you might as well play the body of that, or you can play the wick. So we're at this bar here. It does not break that bar. That's your long. Right here. If you wanted to do it, that's a beautiful long. I think when I was doing this, I don't have to check my previous lines, but I had like 6 longs going up. And then I was so bored I erased all of them. I thought I'd play a reversal, and a reversal never happened. But it's because of the gap. Had to fill the gap. Sometimes when it hits a gap, there's a massive drawdown, but that's normally in the beginning of the day. At the end of the day, if it's filling a gap, there's so much strength there. But you know, by the time it's 4 o'clock, we're looking to get out, right? Because we don't have that extra count. It just skyrockets up. So you know, you're like 83, disgusting, to one of, I'm sorry, what is that, 982 to, you know, 1034. It's a nice 52-point run. Now if you took the long down there and just held it with one contract, brilliant, you could have had 894. You would have been killed. All I'm saying is this had plenty of opportunities today, however you traded it. And if you just went off just your baselines, you know, this was kind of a range, this was a range, we had to break down and break up. If it broke here, this area, I would look for it to fill the gap downward. If it broke this area here, I'm looking for an upward gap fill, right? So if we go here, you know, we have this gap, right? And then if we go here, we have, you know, a gap, another gap. So we have a double gap, and I think that's all you really need to know. This day was a monster day. If you were playing it, and realistically, guys, you only need a couple trades. You don't need 100-point days. You don't need 200-point days or any of that stuff. Obviously, it was available, but there was a lot of, you know, 30 points. You know, these trades from, you know, here, you know, just this range in here. I mean, you were 48 to 904. That's 30, you know, 30, that's 90. I mean, it's insane. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. And that is a wrap up of the 30th.